Welcome. I'm Andrew Taylor. I'm Head of Product and Executive Director at Theta. With me today, we have Liz Knight, Head of Cybersecurity,
Hey everyone.
Jeff Wogan, Head of Digital, and Gary Blumgart, Head of Data and Digital.
Hello.
And today we're discussing some of the surprising ways to use GenAI you may not have considered yet. And we'll be talking about some international and local examples, how companies are going about adopting GenAI and some of the challenges they are facing. So we'll get into the questions for the panel. What recent AI projects have you seen in the news globally or New Zealand that have caught your attention? Gary, you want to start us off with that one?
Sure. Cheers, Andrew. Yeah, I've seen a few. There's actually tons out there, but a few that have caught my eye. One, because I was traveling recently. So I saw Alaskan Airlines have created a travel agent, an interactive travel agent that actually works with its customers to talk about various places that the customer wants to go and travel, understand the best places, make recommendations, streamline the whole booking process from end to end, and it does everything interactively with just like somebody speaking to a live travel agent. So I reckon that specifically for New Zealand, who we heavily reliant on tourists, that could be a real productivity boost and help us get more tourists into the country with all of the interesting places that we've got. The other one, which was pretty smart that I saw, was a moving company in New York. It's got its trucks moving around all the different neighborhoods in New York. And what they've done, they've worked with a company to have an interactive billboard on its trucks that changes every time the truck moves into a different neighborhood. So it knows what, as soon as it sees that it's in a different neighborhood or a different street, has a look at the different things going on, whether it's the temperature, whether it's traffic, whether it's a whole lot of different things, and generates a new ad on the fly as it's traveling through the different streets and neighborhoods, which is pretty smart
Cool.
and pretty
pretty
innovative.
cool,
Yeah. There's a pretty cool video out there of them doing it, and it's very, very smart. And then one useful one is Amazon Polly's being used. That's the text-to-speech model. That's being used to go and convert a whole lot of books into audiobooks. And that's specifically to help people that are, that don't know how to read or can't read well, listen to, whatever book they want to go and read on there. So some very interesting use cases out there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And
There's
Liz, you got some?
there's lots of great initiatives going on in the security space as well. Google just announced that their AI agent Big Sleep discovered a critical zero-day vulnerability in one of its software projects. They're saying it's the first example of AI actually finding a previously unknown exploitable issue in widely used software. So it's got huge defensive potential. Imagine AI finding all of the critical zero-day vulnerabilities before software code is released. So yeah, could mean that in the future there are no zero-day vulnerabilities to be found, and they're all fixed before the attackers have a chance.
Well, that would be
That's
a
pretty
huge thing to achieve, yeah.
Yeah, pretty cool to see how AI can change the game against one of the most common attack vectors we see today. Another area that I'm finding really interesting is around device-side AI and how it's being used to protect children from seeing and sharing objectionable material online. So basically, the AI is being the eyes and ears on the device and kind of protecting children before they see any material. So I think that's really great area, to tackle with AI.
That's cool. Yeah. Jeff, anything to add on those examples?
Well, I think the important thing to start looking at is where and if these applications can be modeled after for our New Zealand businesses. And, on the whole, I think the short answer is yes. Many organizations will look to these types of examples to potentially make them work themselves, but it's almost better to look at them in terms of inspiration.
Yeah.
Right. So look at what others are doing, and even if there isn't a direct application to your business, does it make you think about other problems in your business you've been trying to solve? Thinking about AI as one of the many tools you have at your disposal to solve problems rather than necessarily a miracle cure. can help, open up our thinking about how we'd want to best harness this pretty extraordinary technology.
Yeah. Well, Gary, you were telling me about a quite interesting scenario that a customer was going to try out. I don't know if you want to describe what they're trying to do with it. I thought it was quite a cool story.
Yeah, it is a pretty interesting story. So it's a local government body, and they do a lot of different. They have a lot of different conflicting events happening. To give an example, they're responsible for fixing up roadworks for their specific area, and they're also responsible for what happens under the ground. In other words, pipe maintenance. And so, a classic example of where they have conflicting schedules is where you've got pipes that need to be fixed under a specific road, and that road's also scheduled to be fixed up because it's got potholes and a whole lot of other things. And classic mistake that they make, and that's just because there's too much going on, and it's just too difficult to understand all the different events that are happening. And what happens is they go and schedule the road to be fixed up. In other words, they'll go and make the road, fix up all the potholes or redo it. And then a week later, they'll go and reschedule. They'll go and schedule for those pipes under that exact road to go and be fixed up, which is obviously frustrating and irritating to taxpayers and causes a whole lot of disruption. And there's many, many other examples of community events and other things scheduled that just don't make sense. And so what they're looking to do is use GenAI to have a look at what's going on in people's chats, in their calendars, and in various documents to go and make sense out of all the things that have been scheduled or are planning to be scheduled, and then be able to come up and say, these two events don't make sense, you need to go and change them and make recommendations on what to do. So that's a really cool use case for GenAI, and so we're hoping to get that underway pretty quickly.
Yeah, I was talking to a customer yesterday who was about to explore whether they could use it for contract management or try to analyze contracts so they could pull out the key performance indicators that were embedded in the contract and then decide about how they were going to report on those. So just kind of extracting the knowledge out of the document and putting it into a structured format was what they were looking for, which is a good idea as well, I think. Are there any of those other global projects that you think we could use locally, or that people need to be trying out or trying those ideas out? To your point earlier, Jeff, is there things that we think that people haven't explored much yet here? Or any of those actually just applicable that we just need to use our imagination to try them out?
I think imagination is key there. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you think
I reckon just about any of those use cases that are applicable overseas would be useful here, even at on a much smaller scale. But they've all got the same relevance to people, to industries, to various types of businesses that you can just make small adjustments or whatever. But man, there's some great ideas out there.
Small steps is key to that, Jim. We don't have to feel like they have to jump in feet first with everything and try to solve all their problems. They can take the concepts or small bites to make the way of solving these problems.
So do you think there's particular roadblocks that New Zealand businesses are facing when they're trying to adopt AI? Liz, have you seen things that come up?
Yeah, I think it can be pretty cost prohibitive. So, AI is a new spend for us. We haven't necessarily got it in our roadmaps or locked in our budgets for the year. So, finding money to spend on AI can be challenging. Some of the licensing costs can be a lot, and we've seen some vendors try and charge a significant amount for the AI add-ins in their products, and some of them are still a little bit underbaked. So yeah, there's definitely an investment required into preparing systems and data as well. So yeah, we're seeing customers make more tactical kind of decisions around AI. So choosing a particular use case, or like Gary mentioned, a kind of a scenario to try and validate whether AI can kind of help them deliver their business more efficiently. And once they get that proof, that return on investment, then they can go out for wider investment. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
definitely more tactical approaches rather than all in, trying to roll it out across the whole business.
Anything you're seeing, Jeff, on that front?
Yeah, well, in addition to the cost, I think fear and uncertainty are also a factor for slower adoption.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
We're seeing a lot of organizations that are still even grappling with the broader implications of AI and maybe are somewhat hesitant to readily adopt it. And very logical and understandable questions will come up for them, like, how will my data be used? How can I be certain it won't be shared? Are there ethical considerations we need to consider? For applications used internally, will it inadvertently expose my confidential data? And some organizations will, rightly so, feel that they need to do a lot more preparation and groundwork before making that move.
Yeah. So approaches like doing a proof of concept or getting a minimal viable product approach, is that working for customers? Are you seeing people trying to do that?
The proof of concept approach is the most common that we're seeing out there, to be able to say, is this even going to work before we put the larger investment into making this big solution?
Yeah.
Yeah, I also think that, GenAI takes up a bit of time and effort, and customers, people already had their day jobs before all of this landed on their desks. And so there's pressure coming onto, whether it's technology managers or whether it's data managers or whoever it may be, to roll out GenAI and to prove that the organization can do it, because it is going to be, if not now, it's definitely going to be a competitive advantage to those who roll it out. And I think people want to show that they can do something useful, and the easiest way of doing that is to do small POCs that'll go and prove value, go and prove that it can be done safely, securely, and also not suck up too much energy. So that's the trend that we're seeing across most of our customers that we deal with, is they want to do small MVPs or proofs of, to go and number one, satisfy the demand to get something out there quickly, and number two, also prove value.
Okay, and Liz, I was wondering, and Jeff touched on it a bit about the security and privacy concerns people have. Do you think it's a legitimate thing to worry about, or what's your perspective?
Yeah, absolutely. We're seeing, people's intellectual property being sucked up into these large language models. We're seeing, end users enter confidential and customer sensitive data into public LLMs, and those LLMs can then use that data to train, and then, suddenly your personal information or your customer information can be regurgitated out to anyone else making a relevant query. So yeah, the kind of the best way to keep data safe for a company or an organization is to make sure you're using GenAI models and tools that offer data protection and the option to configure enterprise controls and enterprise grade settings so that your data is not being shared externally or being used to train models. So it's really important to look for those settings when you're choosing your tools. Microsoft's just released a new Purview tool called Purview AI Hub. It's in preview at the moment, but that allows you to see how your end users are engaging with AI tools. So that might be helpful to kind of get an idea of what people are doing and how they're using them. So then you can kind of go, okay, we've got people using the tools. We need to maybe give them more secure options to make sure that while they're using their tools in the enterprise, that you're keeping your data protected and secure. So
yeah, educating the staff is key with that, right? It comes down to here are the tools that we endorse, and we usually do so because it keeps our data safe, and establishing the policies around that so that everyone's cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Having good documents, but I guess it's more than just having a policy, right? I guess you really need to have some sort of training and guidance above just having a policy to make it more real. And I think also giving staff an opportunity to experiment with AI gets them a better feel for what it's capable of, and then also what the risks are of using it. On the more positive side of things, the security and the privacy is a bit of a risk, but are there security opportunities as well? Is that something that you see too?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's I think security is going to benefit enormously from AI. Is already kind of the example I mentioned earlier, and
Yeah.
we're seeing all the main security vendors bake AI into their products. So while there's examples online of like deep fakes being used to trick people, and actually people getting jobs through deep fake, employing deep fake people into their organizations,
Yeah.
and phishing's getting a whole lot easier, more sophisticated because people can now use AI to grammar check their phishing emails before they send them out. We do see AI being used for incident response, so being able to correlate and defend security incidents faster, looking for anomalous behaviors, malicious behaviors, and detect them, and also detecting misconfigurations across your systems, so that you can fix those before you're breached. So there's great opportunities there. For New Zealand businesses overall, there's also great opportunities to improve overall security. There's some things that top of my mind, like getting your data protection policies in place and communicating to your business how to engage with AI. That's really important. Data classification, so making sure your confidential and sensitive data is known and ring-fenced, and understanding which data sources you're going to use for AI, and making sure you're reviewing the controls around those data sources. But yeah, overall, great opportunities. Just need to make sure we've got our housekeeping and our policies in place first.
Yeah, housekeeping's pretty critical. Are you seeing people do that? Do you think people are aware that they need to do that level of housekeeping around, as you said, the data classification? Is that starting to happen?
We are seeing some customers kind of rush into things and kind of roll out licenses and tooling across the business without considering that. So yeah, I think there are some customers that don't understand the need to protect their data. And there's examples like Copilot 365 from Microsoft, for example, can have access to all of your emails, all of your chat messages, all of your documents. So it's important to ensure that all of that data is kind of labeled and ring-fenced before you jump in, because you might inevitably end up breaching the Privacy Act or the Health Information Act or GDPR or any other compliance frameworks by, suddenly you've got this tool that can publish out all of this information, and bring it to the surface. And you haven't properly protected your users from that happening. So it's really good to, get that all in place. We recommend doing an AI readiness assessment before you kind of go all in on AI. So just to understand the different areas of the business that might be at risk if you allow an LLM or a tool access to that data.
Yeah. Well, those are some really good insights. Thanks, Liz. In terms of like what we're doing with AI at Theta, Gary, do you want to comment on some of the interesting things that you think we as a company are doing with it? What are we up to these days in this space?
Well, we're up to a lot. So the one thing that we are doing, which is what Liz alluded to, is before we roll out Copilot for Microsoft, we are going through the whole data sensitivity labeling, the data classification, and we've set up a demo environment to make sure that when we do roll it out, we have got all the guardrails in place to make sure that we don't hit those security issues and we don't have people seeing sensitive information like salaries or anything else. So that's the one thing we're doing, which is let's say the grunt work or the not interesting stuff. On the other hand, because we haven't rolled it out to everybody yet, what we have done is we've got our own product called Theta Assist, which is a personal assistant using GenAI that we've made available to everybody in the organization so that they can actually use GenAI safely and securely. And that's proven to be really useful. So we've got our sales guys, our relationship managers using that to evaluate whether we should, evaluate very quickly whether we should participate in a RFP, RFQ, whatever bid, yes or no. So it can, very quickly go and see whether we're a good fit. We've got people using that to go and compare different topics and come back with some really good answers. The other thing that we've got and we're developing is a centralized knowledge base using GenAI, which is a great use case because we've got data about our customers and about Theta in a whole lot of different places. And to try and get a complete picture of what's going on with a customer or what's going on with something, you have to go and collate data from everywhere. So instead of double handling all of that data, we're using GenAI to go and source that and make inferences and make connections and give us a complete picture of whatever topic it is that we're looking for. So there's a lot of good stuff that we do.
That's cool. Jeff, anything to add to that about what we're up to?
Yeah, well, I think it's important to note that our approach to incorporating GenAI in particular into some of our own products, something we encourage with, that other people look at too, is to say, well, how can it not necessarily replace what we have, but how can it complement what we have? Take something that we know works well, but use GenAI to make it better. For example, with our product GlassTrail, which is an attack surface analyzing tool, which does an amazing job of looking to see what potential adversaries are looking at outside of your environment to potentially attack you with. And it generates loads of data. And we've incorporated GenAI with that to be able to summarize and collate it so that those who need to make decisions or act on that data can get it in a more concise and useful way.
Yeah, well, we do try and weave that capability into all our products these days. It's just a matter of using a bit of imagination, as you said, how to get it into the products and where it's going to be useful. It's got to have value, not just be a gimmick. So, but there's lots of opportunity out there as well. What do you?
Sorry, Andrew.
Sorry,
one
Liz,
thing that we did within Theta was run a survey just to understand how people were using AI, and then I guess what the opportunity for further use of AI across the business is. So kind of crowdsourcing and using the team to feedback how they want to see AI evolve our business. So we got some really great data from doing that. It's really good.
Yeah, that was a very useful survey to conduct. That's great, thank you. And following on from what you've seen in those examples and what we're doing as Theta, what are your kind of predictions or guesses for 2025? Where's AI heading? Where do you think we'll be able to, or our customers might be able to make more use of the technology? What are the opportunity on the horizons, do you think? I don't know who wants to take that first. Liz or Gary?
I'll go. Yeah, look, I think I think you can't escape from Gen AI. So I know there's a lot of hype, and there has been a lot of hype, and maybe we're in a different cycle now, but it's there. And I think what we're striving to do and want to do is embed AI into a lot of our processes that take up time, take up people's focus, where we can actually do things a lot quicker, smarter. So I think we're going to see Gen AI embedded into just about every product that we can get our hands on. We're going to see Gen AI embedded into just about every service and product that we deliver and our competitors do. And we're going to see Gen AI become, like everything else, the better you use it, the more imaginative you are in applying it, the more competitive you're going to be in whatever industry you're in.
I agree. I think, we're going to just see a reimagining of how we run our businesses, and hopefully, I guess, moving away from the more tactical projects to more widespread investment, so we can really start to realize the benefits of AI. It could be really exciting.
It's super hard to try to guess where the technology is going next, right? It's evolving so quickly. Compared to even 2 years ago when we first heard about ChatGPT into the world stage, I suspect we'll see massive improvements in accuracy and costs coming down, and perhaps new ways of technology of reducing that type of footprint and energy resources and all that. All on our way to that holy grail of that artificial general intelligence, which everybody was excited about and a little bit afraid of too.
Yeah. But yeah, I think even long before we get to that point, there's so much that we can do with the existing technology we have now. It's very, very powerful, and it's probably just figuring out how to make best use of it. We don't even need much more horsepower out of the technology right now, we could do a lot of wonderful things if we put our minds to it with what we got. Well, yeah, thanks for your great thoughts on that, and thanks for joining me today. We'll leave it there, and hope you'll join us next time.
Cool.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Cheers, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.